Hey, how you doing? Today I am doing something a little bit different. I'm reviewing a game, but it's not a game on the PlayStation or it's not a game on the PC or anything like that. It's on the phone. Yes, that's right. The thing that you're probably watching this video. Please let me out. I'm in your phone. Anyway, it is Transformers Earth War, and that's right. It's a Transformers game because I am a Transformers nerd. In case you're unaware of the Transformers behind me. So, it is by Space Ape Games, and it is exactly what you think when you think of a game on your phone. Yeah, it's a tappy, collect 'em up sort of thing. So basically the game revolves around doing raids, and it is a real-time strategy game. Each raid, you send a bunch of your characters in and they have to attack through the defenses of somebody else's base until they get to the central part of the base. They attack it, blow it up, you win. And then you collect their resources. Collect the resources, bring them back to your base, build more of your base, build more defenses so that if people attack you, that they don't get your resources. Rinse, repeat, ad nauseum. It's pretty much exactly what you think of when you think of a tower defense kind of game, but the real-time strategy part of it is kind of fun. Like, each time that you go into the raid, you take a bunch of different characters, and you can choose which ones you take, and they all have different kind of powers and different abilities, and each one of those has a different strength when it comes to what they do. Some are more defensive, some are more aggressive, some do little damage to lots of targets, some do lots of damage to one target. And they are all tied to the characters, and they feel very much like the characters from the original cartoons. So when you put Hound on the field, Hound does what Hound did in the cartoon. And that's really cool. Mirage creates mirages. Some of the characters, you kind of go, don't really know what's going on then. You know, Laser Optimus can apparently do skipping laser rings of doom. I don't remember anything about that. But also, some of the characters aren't in the original cartoon, so who cares? The thing that it feels so good about it is that it feels very much like you're playing a G1 cartoon. So your base that you build feels a bit like a toy box, a sandbox. But then you've got your characters just wandering around through it, and the more of them you get, the more Transformers you have in your little toy box, and they spout off lines of dialogue. And when you get a new one, which every day you get a crystal for free, which then allows you to potentially get something from the space bridge, and it could be a new character, or it could just be a buff, or it could be a weapon that you can use in-game. Most of the time it's buffs and weapons. Occasionally it's a new character, and if it's a new character, great, exciting. If it's one that you've already got, then it turns into a shard that you can then use to get a guaranteed character later. It's all very loot boxy, and it's all very gambly. And make no mistake about this, they want your money. They want your money real bad. The game has a story, kind of. The first few levels have some kind of progression, and it's all about the Autobots landing on Earth and then going out and finding the Decepticons. That's all fine. Then there's a secondary story that's all about the Combiner Wars, and that's really fun, where you actually finally get to put together a Combiner and then go stomping around in a bad guy's base. That's awesome. But then the game hits a massive wall. Like, it's huge, and that's when you know that they're going, aha, now we need you to pay. Because you suddenly have to level up your characters to some huge level to unlock the next lot of actual story levels, and that's grind. It's pure grind, and it's tedious grind. And I understand it. Like, this is a game that's based around making money, and if you can make money by getting people to buy cyber coins for real world money, that they can then upgrade their characters, upgrade their base faster, and then they can progress through the game faster, cool. But I do feel like they've actually made that grind wall a little too high, to the point where most people will get to the point of going, nah, not interested. You know what? The little bit of excitement that we get daily when we maybe get a new thing isn't really enough. Every weekend they have events that allow you to level up characters faster, and quite often during that time you'll also potentially get guaranteed new characters or whatever. They're good, but a lot of them involve you having to be in an alliance, and that means also having to deal with other players, and that can be a pain in the ass. Like, one of the unfortunate parts about that is that sometimes other players are kind of dicks, And the first couple of alliances that I joined, I was booted from because I just wasn't doing enough. And I'm like, well, I'm at different times of the day, you know. So there can be the usual toxic bullshit that comes with on any online game. However, that's not what you play it for. What you're playing this game for is to play with toys. You get to play with your Transformers, and there's a really fun section where you can basically go into a director mode and have a look at the characters, spin around them, get in nice and close, but also then double tap them and they transform. And it's really cool seeing the amount of work that's gone into rigging these characters so that they do transform, and then looking at what they look like, because most of the time that you see that is on a big battle map at a long distance. So it's really nice to be able to get in there and look at them in pretty high res. And they're really cool. Some of the transformations are really clever. A couple of them don't transform, which is a little bit disappointing. One of my favorites is Soundwave. He doesn't transform, but he does have his tapes. And that's the thing that I think the game's really good at, is knowing what to give you that feels like the nostalgic part that you want to play with. Like there's storyline for each of the characters, and when you get a new character, you get these, I hesitate to use the phrase cut scenes, because essentially it's just the same models doing some pre-programmed movements while some dialogue happens. But all that dialogue is written by Simon Furman, who is the guy who is probably best regarded as the Transformers writer that people love. He wrote the British Transformers comics for quite a long time. And they're fun, they're funny, they're really entertaining. There are different characters from different realities or different shows. So you get some of the Japanese characters who show up, and they're weird. Deathsaurus and Starsaber show up, and they're written completely differently, and you kind of get the feeling they're written almost like they're badly dubbed, which I really love. There's another character who shows up called Nor, who's a Sharkticon, and gets this sort of dual narrative with the Autobots and the Decepticons, which is really funny. It's all, you know, about him trying to eat everybody's energon. They're funny. The moment that Cosmos shows up, and Cosmos is one of my favourite characters, he's just quoting David Bowie. You know, nobody cares. It's funny. It's just good comedy. That's the kind of stuff that makes the game work. And it makes you want to keep playing, because maybe you'll get a new character and that new character will say something that you go, haha, that's really funny. But also then you get to send him into battle, and that's kind of fun. It's like playing with toys. And I really enjoy that part about it. It's not great. I mean, there are 1,000 other games that do basically the same thing. But if you like Transformers and you love playing in that world, and you just want to play with some toys in your sandbox, but you don't necessarily have the space, this is a really cool digital way of doing it. So that's Transformers Earth War. There's lots more that can be said about it. There's so many other aspects to the game. There's power cores which buff you. There's all these different things that you can get that build your characters up and that you have to sort of manage. And that can get pretty tedious. But that's not what the game's about. The game is actually about collecting toys, even though they're not really toys, they're Transformers. Anyway, whatever. If you enjoy this kind of thing, and you enjoy me talking about games, then please let me know. If you prefer me talking about, you know, jobs that I do, or you know, how I see the world, let me know. If you want me to talk about movies and stuff like that, let me know. What I'm saying is, please let me know. Comment down wherever the comments thing is, and like and subscribe and do all those things, because that's what you have to say when you're on, you know, YouTube and all that kind of stuff, or Instagram TV. Where do you prefer to watch? That's something else I'd really love to know. Do you want to watch these on Instagram? Do you want to watch them on YouTube, Facebook? Where would you rather watch these things? I would like to know, because quite frankly, I don't know. And, you know, it would help if you told me. Okay, thanks for joining me. You know, be good to your mum. I may have mentioned her once before, but, you know, I'm sure she's lovely. I'll see you around.